Hey, how's it going out there in YouTube land? My name is Brandon. This is Scourge of Vinyl with another Check This Out update. I'm going to be talking about some records that I've got that I really like, that I really want to talk about, that I think you should check out. So let's get started. First up, I got this cassette edition of Spectral Wounds Infernal Decadence. Now, every year I make a year end best of list, and there are always inevitably albums that slip through the cracks. I'm only one person. I can only listen to and buy so much new material. But this was a phenomenal release from 2018 from this band, Spectral Wound, out of Montreal, Quebec, in Canada. This cassette edition was released by La Fleur de Mal. It's limited to like 159 copies, which is an odd number, but stoked to get a copy of this. Whether the vinyl is long sold out at this point because I slept on it. I don't know if a CD exists, but I found a tape version. Very happy to get it. Um, Man, I don't even know where to begin describing this band, or what to compare them to. It's just superbly written black metal, very, very strong riffs. The production for an album like this is absolutely perfect. It's not lo fi enough to be considered raw, it's not clean enough to be considered polish. It's a perfect middle ground, and it really allows the music to shine, especially this style of black metal. Canada has been putting out an insane amount of good music, especially black metal, and this Spectral Wound album is no different. A lot of people were talking about this. A lot of people were commenting on this channel saying, "Hey, have you heard the new Spectral Wound?" And I just, only recently got around to doing so, and man, am I glad that I did. So, if you haven't yet, go listen to Spectral Wound with Infernal Decadence. This is Create a Kill with Summoned to Rise. This was released by Redefining Darkness and Raw Skull Records. If you haven't heard of Raw Skull Records, they specialize in old school death metal, and then Redefining Darkness is a label definitely to keep an eye out. They've been releasing some really, really solid stuff lately. But this Create a Kill album, members of Gruesome and Malevolent Creation, this album, in fact, is dedicated to the memory of the singer of Malevolent Creation, Brett Hoffman, who passed away last year. And this is just a ripping thrash album. There's hints of death metal here and there, but it is definitely, without a doubt, a thrash album. And man, songs that really caught my attention were Crave the Blade, Decimate, Premeditated, Reap the Whirlwind, and the last track on here is called Flesh, Blood, and Stone in loving memory of Brett Hoffman. So this album was created to really commemorate a fallen brother, and it's always tragic when we lose members of the metal community, especially from such noteworthy bands like Malevolent Creation. But if you're into thrash metal, if you want to hear something fucking ripping, definitely check out Create a Kill with Summoned to Rise. And another release from Redefining Darkness, another one from 2018 that surely would have been on my list had I heard it earlier. This is 1914 with The Blind Leading the Blind. This is another one that I got a lot of comments of, hey, have you heard this? Hey, check out the new 1914. I'm always paying attention to those comments, and I'm always checking new stuff out. It's just a matter of, time. I don't always have the time. But, man, this band is from the Ukraine. They've had some other material, some splits, some stuff like that. But from what I've heard, this is their best material yet. They're described as blackened death metal with like hints of sludge. To me, this album sounds like a well-rounded death metal album. Certainly, there's hints of black metal in there. And it's obviously a World War One themed album and a World War One themed band. 1914 is the year that the First World War began, and then all the songs on here are World War One related. My favorite track is A7B Mephisto, which is about a German tank from the First World War. Hanging on the Barbed Wire is an interesting kind of interlude track where it's like soldiers marching and singing kind of a marching song. There's just so much great stuff going on in this album. A lot of sound clips from old movies, machine gun fire, tanks, bombs bursting. It really gives you that feel of being in a battle environment. And the artwork on here was fantastic. Redefining Darkness did a great job with the packaging on this. If you're a fan of bands that are war themed, bands such as Bolt Thrower, Benediction, whatever, check this one out. This one really fucking blew me away. 1914, The Blind Leading the Blind. And another 2018 release, Bone Hunter, Children of the Atom. I fucking love Bone Hunter. This is a band that I don't see a ton of people talking about, but I have a real soft spot for them. They're from Finland. They play like a metal punk style, street metal, death punk, whatever you want to call it. Man, this shit fucking rips. I love Bone Hunter. They're I forget when it came out, maybe 2015. Evil Triumphs Again, that full length, phenomenal. And then Sexual Human Panic Machine came out a couple years ago as well. That was awesome. And then just continuing with Children of the Atom. This band, it might not be for everyone because that style just it's not as hyped up as like the kind of death metal shit that's going around right now, or black metal. There's definitely hints of black metal in this too, aesthetically and musically. But Demonic Nuclear Armament, Sex Messiah Android, The Reek of Reaper's Scythe. Really, sexual stuff on here too. So it's got a hint of sleaze to it, which I love. Man, fucking Bone Hunter. This, for some reason, the CD edition took forever to ship out from Hell's Headbangers, the record company or the label that released this. So I didn't get it until like fucking January. But again, another contender that would have probably been on my list. I love this album. Bone Hunter, Children of the Atom. Alright, and then I've got some records to talk about. Pretty much everything except these next two were records that came out in 2018. I wanted to talk about stuff that I didn't get a chance to talk about last year, or things to include in my year-end list. But these two records finally got the LP treatment. This one being Vampiric Blood, Howling in Candlelight. This was on my best of 2017 list. Finnish black metal, released by Dark Adversary Productions. Vampiric Blood, really raw, vampiric style black metal. I listened to the CD copy so much when I got it, and then when I finally got the LP copy and put it on, it was kind of like, how when you listen to something a lot for a while, and then you just kind of set it to the side, don't listen to it for a while, and then you put it back on again, and it all comes back to you, and you realize everything that made you love about this album all over again. Songs like Bleeding for Satan, the title track Howling in Candlelight, Desperate Shadows, the last track Pulse of Prey, maybe my favorite on this one. This is a one-man project from Finland. Definitely check it out. They have a split with Drowning the Light, which is equally as phenomenal. I love this album. I believe this is only limited to like 200 or 300 copies. You might still be able to find it. If not, there's a CD version out there somewhere. Go check that out. And then I just mentioned Drowning the Light. I ordered these two records together. Seance Records in Australia was the only place you could get these, so it took a little while to get here, but it was well worth it. This is Drowning the Lights with A World Long Dead. This is some very early Drowning the Light material, finally released, or maybe even reissued on vinyl. Uh, as you can see here, Dark Adversary, limited to 200 copies. This and the Vampiric Blood were both released on black vinyl. At least the copies that I got were on black vinyl. I believe they did colored vinyl that were limited to 100 that sold out like that, but I don't give a shit. I was just happy to get a copy. This is such an incredible album. If you've heard Drowning the Light, you know what you're in for. Grim, medieval, terrorizing black metal. Asgore is a fucking musical genius in my eyes. He's involved in so many other projects. Forgotten Kingdoms, his Dungeon Synth project. He's been playing with Black Funeral now from here in the States. Drowning the Light is his solo project out of Australia. I have yet to hear something that I didn't like from Drowning the Light. So, I would say that this is just more of the same. Although, the earlier stuff definitely has a much, much colder atmosphere to it than the newer stuff. Tears of a Dead God to open this up. Dark Whispers of Torment. Fate Forged in the Name of Satan. Great, great material. I was so, so happy to get a copy of this on vinyl. Drowning the Light, A World Long Dead. Great, great stuff. This is another one that got released at like the tail end of 2018, and I listened to it a lot, and I just didn't feel like I had spent enough time with it to justify putting it on my list. But Cest with Impetus of Death. This co-released by Dark Descent Records and Misako Unoho. First of all, amazing cover art, really creepy, ominous, brooding. I love it when artwork sets the tone for a record, and this certainly does. This is really, really dismal, doomy style of death metal. If you're a fan of bands like Disma, Incantation, Crypts, you're gonna love Cest. And I listened to this album a lot. It really didn't leave my turntable at all when I first got it, and then I just, whenever I would, be going through my records, I would see this record, and I just put it on. The first track, the title track, Impetus of the Dead, man, what a fucking killer track. And after that, just hearing that track, I was hooked into the whole album. I had to listen to the whole album again and again and again. So, whenever you can do that, whenever, track one hits and you just don't want to stop listening until the thing is done, that's a trademark of a great album in my eyes. And I love that it came on gold vinyl. I think it matches really nicely. You've got the band logo in black and gold, so the gold vinyl really fits. What a fucking great album. Cest from Finland. Finland and death metal, like peanut butter and jelly these days. Can't go wrong. Cest, Impetus of Death. And this one took a while to get. I was waiting to find it in a US distro. Finally popped up at $20 spin, maybe like a week or two ago. And I had been hearing nothing but praise for this album, and justifiably so. I knew that it was going to be good. I wasn't really ready for it to be this fucking good. I'm talking about Sulfur Aeon with the Scythe of Cosmic Chaos. Holy shit. I thought about it. I thought about, sitting here and telling you that I made a mistake and this should have been my number one album of the year. But what's done is done. It's set in stone. I'm not going to go back and change anything. But, this would have been one or two on my list. Comes with this really nice slipcase, silver hot foil stamped. Take a second to really soak in that artwork. The artwork for this band, all of their albums, has been nothing short of incredible. Really, you've come to expect it with the Sulfur Aeon album, that is going to be accompanied with incredible, incredible artwork. This was released by Von Records, and the packaging on this album alone was worth the price of, you know, however much I paid for it. I don't even fucking remember, but I would have paid. I don't know. Price is not an issue when it came to this record. Where do I begin now talking about how fucking good this album is? This band is from Germany. They play death metal, heavily influenced by H.P. Lovecraft. That's essentially what this band is all about. And you know, there's countless other bands that have gone down the Lovecraftian route. Morbid Angel, Unausprechlichen Kulten. You know, there's tons of bands that write songs about H.P. Lovecraft's mythology and writings. But this band really, really owns it and takes it to another level. Tracks, Cults of Starry Wisdom, Ugathian Spell. My favorite track, The Summoning of Nyarlathotep. I listened to that song this week alone maybe 50 times. So fucking good. Lungs into Gills, Thou Shalt Not Speak His Name. I kind of get the feeling that this is a concept album encompassing the mythology behind the being Nyarlathotep, which is a very ominous human-like figure who brings nothing but chaos and destruction wherever he goes. And that's essentially what this entire album is about. I sat down, as I often do with great albums like this. I sat down and I listened to the entire album, and I read along with the lyrics in this fucking gorgeous booklet, accompanied with tons of artwork. And sitting down and listening to this album in its entirety, reading all the lyrics along with it, that is the way to do it. If you have time to devote to doing so, I cannot recommend doing that highly enough, because you really get to experience the full scythe of cosmic chaos here with Sulfur Aeon. This band has gotten better with every release. I thought that their last album was fucking incredible. I've got a poster of it over here, Gateway to the Antisphere. This album just leaves me breathless by the time I'm done listening to it. But I'm going to shut up about it, and all I can say is if there's an album that you're going to check out today, make this it. Sulfur Aeon, the Scythe of Cosmic Chaos. And last, but certainly not least, another outstanding release from 2018. This is Whoredom Rife with Nid Himner Avhat. I guess is how you're going to pronounce that. This was another release that was beautifully packaged, released by Territor Possessions. Comes with this die-cut sleeve, which is kind of a pain to get it in and out of. But it looks nice. Phenomenal artwork. Whoredom Rife from Norway. They play black metal. Influenced by Norwegian bands, certainly, like Mayhem and Toke. And I definitely pick up a little bit of Swedish black metal in here, too. Bands like Marduk and Watain. Whoredom Rife last year put out a fucking hell of an album. This one is just great, too. Fucking phenomenal. This came with a ridiculously awesome poster. It's huge. I hope that I can fit it in here. It's the album art. And then on the reverse side, you've got more artwork. I hope you can all see all of that, but incredibly beautiful poster. I would love to make some room for this somewhere. And now I'm going to clumsily attempt to fold this back up. There we go. Whoredom Rife. Just been releasing nonstop. Great material. I will leave a link down in the description for a few of these. I don't always leave links for every single album that I talk about because sometimes people tend to just click on the description and see everything that I talk about and not watch the video. But this one I will leave a link to. It was another fantastic release from 2018. And real quick, I'm going to go back to this album real quick. It was a double LP, 3-sided, and on the D side, I really wanted to show this if you can see it. It's got an etched D side. I hope that somehow you can pick that up. But it's got their album logo, and then at the bottom it says, "It is he who holdeth the scepter of obliteration. It is he who wieldeth the scythe of cosmic chaos." I could just sit here and talk about this album all fucking day, but that is going to conclude this video. All of the albums that I showed in this update were fantastic. All killer, no filler. If you stuck around to the end of this video, thank you for watching. As always, thank you for continuing to like, comment, subscribe, all that cool shit. Finally made it over 5,000. If you didn't catch that, I'm so appreciative for everyone who's been here since the beginning, or if you're just tuning in now. Doesn't matter to me as long as you're here to check out some cool shit. That's what I'm here to do. So, until the next time, take care.